Is classified information that Donald Trump stole. I saw this Newsweek report over the weekend that was essentially speculating that this is that it may contain payroll information on U.S. assets abroad. That's the kind of thing I think. I mean, and this is where I want to reality check this with a professional like yourself. It seems to me like that's the sort of thing where a foreign government, say Saudi Arabia or Russia, might enter into a bidding war where they might offer as much as $2 billion for the information and, launder it through the Trump family via Jared. Is that way out there thinking like that?
No, I think Trump has given us every reason to doubt his word at every turn since 2015, of course, when he really came on the national political stage. The original reporting from this, as you noted, Newsweek, Bill Arkin, this is a serious guy. He has spent decades covering national security issues. So I take what his reporting says very seriously. And as you note, I'm a spy, an intelligence officer. I am not a national security expert or lawyer in terms of what's classified and can the president declassify waving his magic wand. But as a former covert CIA officer, what strikes me most about all the news that we've heard and the documents is why. Why would he have this information? The latest from Arkin was that there may have been lists of payrolls of U.S. spies in addition to highly sensitive nuclear documents. There was on the docket that was taken out all the materials, not much detail, but we have enough to be absolutely terrified. And the only question that has to be answered, and this is really important, is why would he have this? This is not, we were accidentally moving the personal effects out of the Trump White House to Mar-a-Lago, and we put an easy chair in and a potted plant and 15 boxes of classified information, and we had no idea. The more we hear about this, everyone in the intelligence community is deeply, deeply concerned.
Yeah, which makes absolute sense. I mean, Donald Trump generally doesn't even read. So I'm wondering who came up with the shopping list. 15 boxes is not inconsequential. And this is the guy who, multiple national security officials have told us if you didn't present it to him with pictures and graphics, he didn't understand it. So I can't imagine that he went through and picked out these documents himself. Who might have, and to my earlier question, is this could this be the kind of information that a foreign government literally would want to pay the Trump family a couple of $1 billion for?
Oh, absolutely. But that is speculation. What we know from a former intelligence officer and administrative person is John Bolton, who said that many times when he was in the White House, Trump would ask to have from his briefers, have the papers left behind. And the briefers generally said, well, we really prefer to take that with us, Mr. President, but sometimes they forgot and they were left there. And what you said earlier was absolutely true. Trump does, every president, every intelligence, every time a new president comes in, the intelligence briefers around him need to adjust to how that president takes in information. And this is, everyone takes in information differently. Trump is not a reader, so things were presented to him in sort of basic pictures. It is unusual that there would be all these documents, printed documents. It just doesn't add up. And as an intelligence professional, I just have to keep going back to why. Why does he have this? Who would benefit from this? There is absolutely, he has changed his story so many times just in the last week. It was only last Monday that we became aware of the FBI search that was completely lawful. It was signed off. There has to be really good probable cause, which Merrick Garland and the DOJ and the FBI have absolutely stuck by they have demonstrated to the American people why, in fact, this was justified. I'm somewhat heartened because Merrick Garland, I don't know him, but by all accounts, he really is a by-the-book kind of guy. He is going to be sure everything is absolutely done lawfully. And given the incredible outrage on the right over this, that's more important than ever.
Yeah, we're speaking with Valerie Plame, former CIA covert operations officer, author of multiple books, ValeriePlame.com, Valerie Plame on Twitter. Valerie, my observation, and I, this is obviously not unique to me, is that Trump is typically motivated by a very narrow range of things. Familial loyalty and friendship and stuff like that is not typically on his radar screen. It's money, or he wants to have sex with somebody, or he wants to be famous. I can't think of anything else that that he has spent much of his life.
It's not ideology, that's for sure.
Yeah,
he has none.
Yeah, exactly. He's not an ideologue. He doesn't have some philosophical core that he's driving off of. So I don't see how having these documents would get him sex with anybody. And I'm not sure that he wanted to be famous for having these documents, which leaves basically either he has these documents because he thinks they can be translated into money, or they've already been translated into money, or he has these documents because he's being blackmailed by some foreign government that ultimately wants to get their hands on these documents. Does that make sense to you? And if so, what do you think is the most likely explanation?
All of that is a possibility. In addition, I'd like to add that when you're an intelligence officer and you're recruiting a foreign asset to spy, to provide critical intelligence for our senior U.S. policymakers, there's a whole bunch of motivating factors: money, ideology, compromise, and so forth. But there's an acronym for it. But in Trump's case, he may have convinced himself at this point, his justification may be, this is just my speculation, that he is holding these documents and perhaps to pass them because he thinks that America is simply falling apart. He has embraced Russia and to a lesser extent Saudi Arabia from the very beginning of his administration. Mm-hmm. So if he really feels that the United States is in such a terrible place, he would want to be able to help the United States through the aid of, say, Russia, and these documents would help. It is twisted. It's bizarre. Unprecedented doesn't even begin to touch where we are in our history. On really bad days, I'm deeply, deeply concerned about our democracy, and this is just adding fuel to that fire. Yeah. Because I heard you the other day speak about this. I don't have a lot of friends that are Trump supporters, but I do have them, and I know them to be good people. Truly good people. They try to live good lives, and they have somehow managed to simply justify all of this in their mind, or they see this as yet another just, the liberal bias, liberal media making a mountain out of a molehill. After all, I mean, didn't Obama take millions of documents too? It is so distorted and so twisted. And
yeah, in fact, no, he didn't.
Your question was, is he going to? Yeah, will this turn it? Will this turn supporters away from Trump? And I'm afraid the GOP has become a cult of personality rather than actually.
So your theory that maybe he has these documents in order to kind of help America make a transition isn't the predicate for that Trump doesn't believe in Republican democracy, in a democratic republic, but rather he believes that the best form of government is an oligarchic autocracy, like we have in Russia, like we have in what Bolsonaro's trying to turn Brazil into, what Modi seems to be pushing India in the direction of.
Hungary.
Certainly Hungary, yes, with Viktor Orban. Now we've got, the Philippines, with the Duterte and Marcos dynasties. That basically he thinks that, turning America into a strongman country, whether he's the strongman or Ron DeSantis is the best way to go. Make America safe for the autocrats. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, that's what I'm suggesting, because from Trump's every action since he's been in office, none of them have bolstered actually our democratic norms, to the opposite effect, in fact.
Right. Small d.
I know that my former colleagues and I am included in our utter alarm. He early on, when it became exceedingly evident how much Russia had interfered in the 2016 elections, far more than, as I've done more reading on it, far more than I even understood, and that Trump is sort of like the perfect, what we would call an unwitting asset. I mean, he might be able to have that fig leaf in his mind, that he's not really spying for Russia, he's helping America, or whatever twisted rationale he might come up with. He's a perfect unwitting asset.
Yeah, a dupe, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Amazing. Valerie Plame, ValeriePlame.com for all her writings, and Valerie Plame on Twitter. Valerie, thank you so much for dropping by. It's always so nice talking with you. Thank you.